A substance effective against over 300 insect species costs pennies per use. It wasn't banned. It wasn't disproven. It was buried alongside an entire forgotten toolkit of natural pest control by an industry that simply had something else to sell. Before synthetic sprays lined cooperative shelves, managing pests was a matter of skill rather than purchase. For generations, growers and households maintained a localized toolkit of physical barriers and botanical remedies. These targeted practices solved specific insect and soil problems with high precision. This practical wisdom was passed down directly through daily farm work, shared garden knowledge, and handwritten household journals. It formed the foundation of a quiet, everyday self-reliance. Protecting a crop did not require costly, universal treatments. Instead, it relied on a deep understanding of the immediate environment, utilizing abundant, low-cost materials to maintain a natural balance without disrupting the surrounding ecosystem. The end of World War II in 1945 disrupted this balance. Huge military stockpiles of ammonium nitrate, once used for explosives, were repurposed as agricultural fertilizers. Simultaneously, synthetic insecticides like DDT, developed for military use, flooded the civilian market. Chemical companies marketed these broad-spectrum sprays as labor-saving miracles. Glossy advertisements promised an easy future, framing chemical inputs as the symbol of progress and reliability. The United States Department of Agriculture and State University Extension Services quickly aligned with this industrial model, updating farm manuals to focus on scalable chemical inputs. A swift commercial transition, driven by convenience and labor economics, replaced local wisdom. It was not a sudden conspiracy. The market simply prioritized speed and scale. Within a single generation, centuries of observation-based knowledge, timing, physical barriers, and plant relationships were sidelined, rebranded as outdated folklore rather than scientifically tested tools. Diatomaceous earth offers immediate proof that traditional methods match modern standards. Derived from the fossilized remains of microscopic aquatic organisms called diatoms, this fine powder is not a chemical poison. Instead, it kills mechanically. Under a microscope, the dust acts like tiny shards of glass, abrading the waxy outer layer of crawling insects upon contact, causing them to dehydrate and die. It targets over 300 species, from weevils to fleas, and bugs cannot develop resistance to physical wear. It costs roughly 4 cents a pound, though careful application is necessary to avoid breathing the dust. It remains highly effective, provided the environment is dry. Traditional growers bypassed reactive treatments by organizing their plots to prevent pests from taking hold. This is intentional ecological design. Planting marigolds alongside tomatoes protects the crop from the soil up, as marigold roots release natural compounds that suppress destructive root knot nematodes. For airborne pests, nasturtiums serve as deliberate trap crops. Their bright foliage draws aphids away from neighboring vegetables, acting as a sacrificial host. Meanwhile, basil interplanted around kitchen beds and herbs uses its volatile oils to repel nuisance flies and mosquitoes. By simply adjusting the physical layout, a grower redirects and confuses pests, reducing insect pressure before they can establish themselves. Protecting crops from slugs is about securing the edge, not treating the soil itself. A simple band of copper tape, costing $10 to $20 a roll, stops pests at the perimeter of raised beds and containers. When a slug contacts the metal, the copper reacts with its acidic slime to generate a mild electric charge, halting its advance. Field trials show that a 5mm copper strip reduces slug damage on plants by 78%. This physical barrier provides permanent protection, making repeated chemical bait purchases entirely unnecessary. Wood ash, a zero-cost byproduct of household heating, serves a dual role as a mineral soil amendment and a physical pest barrier. When dusted lightly around vulnerable crops, it creates an alkaline, dehydrating obstacle that deters crawling insects. In controlled tests, a thin layer of oak or beech ash left only 10% of treated plants damaged by slugs. But this local resource requires careful restraint. Because wood ash is rich in calcium and potassium, it rapidly raises soil pH. Applying it too heavily causes leaf scorch, demanding a level of agricultural stewardship that synthetic chemicals promise to make obsolete. Elder leaves offer a direct connection to this practical self-reliance, growing wild along country roadsides. In 1578, medical texts documented that bruised elder foliage served as a reliable repellent against biting insects. The plant contains natural saponins and aromatic compounds that shield crops and skin. Today, this 16th century practice translates to a simple 5% leaf infusion steeped in water for 24 hours, or fresh leaves rubbed directly onto skin. Applying this wild harvested resource shows that forgotten knowledge is never truly lost. It remains completely accessible, highly effective, and entirely free. Expanding to the field boundary, farmers historically maintained dense hedgerows. These living corridors provide nesting, nectar, and overwintering shelter for predatory ladybugs, lacewings, parasitic wasps, and ground beetles, drawing natural predators up to 200 meters into cultivation. This is pest control by systematic design. Reclaiming this ecology starts with a basic weekend plan. Apply food-grade diatomaceous earth along dry pest paths. Plant marigolds and nasturtiums at bed edges to confuse and trap invaders. Install copper strips around raised frames to halt slugs. Dust wood ash lightly where soil pH permits, and mist foliage with a steeped elder leaf spray. These solutions never stopped working. We simply stopped looking. Reclaiming this forgotten wisdom isn't just about gardening. It's about taking back our independence. Share your thoughts below.